Potential evolution and characteristics of Martian life. If life exists on Mars, these organisms would have evolved to adapt to Mars' unique environmental, physical, and chemical characteristics. Below are some hypotheses about the potential evolutionary pathways of Martian life and how they might perceive and think about the world. Mars characteristics and biological evolution. Environmental factors. Extreme climate. Mars has extremely cold temperatures and a thin atmosphere, mostly composed of carbon dioxide, so organisms would need to possess the ability to protect themselves from extreme cold and ultraviolet radiation. High radiation levels. Mars has significantly less atmospheric thickness than Earth, exposing it to higher levels of radiation. Hence, organisms might have developed radiation resistance. Scarcity of water. There is almost no water on the Martian surface, but in some regions, water may exist in the form of ice. Organisms would likely evolve mechanisms to preserve or store water in this extremely dry environment. Forms and physiology of life. Microbial forms. Life might initially arise in the form of microorganisms, for example, bacteria and archaea. These organisms could survive in high numbers due to their small size and may exist through chemical energy. Extremophiles. Organisms adapted to extreme environments could utilize various chemicals for energy. They might maintain life using unconventional energy sources like methane and hydrogen sulfide. Energy and nutrition. Chemosynthetic organisms. Various minerals and compounds found in specific regions of Mars could serve as energy sources for organisms. These organisms might evolve to obtain energy in uneven chemical environments. Photosynthetic organisms. If sufficient water and light were present on Mars, there could be microorganisms that utilize light for photosynthesis in a thin atmosphere. Such organisms would likely develop pigments to harness suitable wavelengths of sunlight. How Martian life perceives and thinks about the world. Sensory perception. Extreme conditions. In harsh Martian conditions, organisms would primarily rely on chemical detection and very limited visual senses to perceive the external world. The thin atmosphere and low lighting conditions make visual reliance challenging. For example, they may employ the ability to detect chemical signals or structural changes to find resources or other lifeforms. Thought processes. Survival-centric thought. These organisms would likely prioritize their survival, focusing less on cooperation or communication and more on self-defense and preservation. If they evolve to recognize various ecological interactions or changes in their environment, they might also develop memory or learning capabilities. Social structures. Resource sharing and cooperation. If organisms are distributed in groups, they could develop intelligence that enables them to form networks of ecological interactions, sharing resources or cooperating for survival. In complex social structures, communication and collaboration among individuals would be critical for the survival of their species. Martian organisms would have evolved to adapt to the planet's extreme conditions and environmental characteristics. They would understand and perceive their world through a mindset focused on energy competition, resource exploration, and survival. This imaginative exploration of the potential for Martian life opens fascinating avenues for understanding the diversity and possibilities of extraterrestrial existence. Submerged environments on Mars. If a significant amount of water exists underground on Mars, organisms may have evolved to thrive in such submerged environments, developing various forms to adapt to their surroundings. Mars river and groundwater environment. Possibility of groundwater. Recent studies suggest that various forms of water, liquid or ice, may exist beneath the Martian surface. This groundwater could be vital for the survival and evolution of life. Extreme environment. Subterranean water would provide protection from radiation compared to the surface and lessen the effects of extreme weather and ultraviolet radiation. Evolution and characteristics of Martian organisms. Formative adaptations. Extreme durability. Organisms would likely have tough exteriors or durable structures to cope with Mars' harsh conditions. For instance, they may develop thick cell membranes or hard exoskeletons to withstand environmental stress. Diverse organism forms. Live forms could range from minute single-celled organisms to multicellular entities, including complex forms like macroalgae that could establish aquatic ecosystems. Chemical and physical energy utilization. Chemosynthesis. Organisms might obtain energy through Martian underground minerals or compounds. This would represent a unique evolutionary pathway for nutrition. Photosynthesis. If appropriate conditions are met, rare aquatic plants may perform photosynthesis near the water's surface, generating energy from sunlight. Perception and thinking of Martian life. Sensory perception. Chemical detection abilities. These organisms could perceive their surroundings through chemical signals, enabling them to locate food or detect dangers. Detection of physical properties. They could use pressure, vibration, and temperature changes to sense their environment. Thought and communication. Survival-oriented thinking. Organisms would likely develop strategies to find resources and survive, leading to either cooperative behaviors or solutions to challenges in an individualistic manner. Evolution of communication. These species might communicate chemically, for example, pheromones, and interact in ways that build ecological relationships. Social structure. Community living. If organisms live underwater, they may develop cooperative survival strategies, which would be crucial for increasing their chances of survival. Aquatic organisms on Mars would have adapted to survive in extreme conditions. Their perception and thinking processes would likely evolve to reflect their ecological needs and environmental factors, demonstrating high levels of efficiency and uniqueness. This speculative exploration opens up intriguing discussions about the potential for diverse forms of life on Mars.